I don't need
Okay.
nothing.
Well, can I ask what had you call 911 in the first place? Like, were you having an
Because
argument with
me and my
somebody?
man got into it, but I'm okay, I promise.
Did anything ever get physical?
Tonight, a murder mystery in Columbus, Ohio, deepening with police asking the public for help identifying this hooded person of interest. Spotted investigators say in an alley near Spencer and Monique Tepe's home the morning of the killings.
Do you recognize that person?
No,
Not at all.
I mean, no.
Audrey Mackey is Spencer's cousin.
Do you have any idea who would want to do this?
I have no idea. They were, warm and welcoming. I can't think of anyone.
So the news has released a 911 call that happened back in April. Well, the brother-in-law has responded to the 911 call. I'm going to tell you exactly what he said because there was some rumors and speculation going around the internet. Some people heard what he said and kind of twisted his words. So I'm going to clear that up for you guys. And not only that, there's also a video of who they believe that did it walking behind the houses. Now, I'm going to tell you some things about the video that I'm realizing media's not saying, or maybe other people are not picking up. Stay tuned, Fugitive TV. Welcome back. This is Fugitive TV, and I'm your host, Ray Marcel, where we take a look at cases and we take a look at it sometimes from a different perspective in life because I was once a fugitive on the run myself from the law. I did it for 15 years. I was living in different countries with different names. Now, and after a while, I turned myself in, and now I'm talking to you guys, and I'm looking at these cases, looking at potential loopholes that other people cannot find. Now, if you're new to the channel, please like and subscribe. If you're returning, thank you. You've been helping my channel grow up, blow up this year. It has been great. My last couple videos, I know I was not in my proper setting. Well, this is my proper setting that I always do my videos in. I was actually out of town. There was a family in need of searching for somebody. So they flew me out to help them look for somebody, and pretty much mission was complete. I can't give you guys any details about it right now. Maybe in the future I can, but we'll find out. And that was why I was out of town. But we're going to continue talking about Spencer and Monique Tepe, okay? Um, for you guys that don't know, real quickly, I'm pretty sure you know, unless you just came down to planet Earth today or yesterday. Spencer and Monique Tepe was the Ohio couple that was found in their house unalived, um, and there was two children in the house, and the two children were not harmed. Supposedly there was a dog that was not harmed. Now, some reports, there's a police report, 911 report that came out, said two dogs. I have no idea. I just know nobody in the house was harmed except for the parents. Okay. Now, a lot of people would think, did one of the parents do it to the other parent and do it to themselves? And that was how they became unalived. And I hate using the word unalive, but because I'm a smaller YouTube channel, they don't like the M word. So when you use those words, especially towards the beginning of the video, they flag your video and it doesn't get shown out to everybody. So I'm just letting you know. But people were wondering about that, but the police said there was no weapon. There was no weapon in the house that they found that they're not telling us about anyway. So since there's no weapon, there's no way that this was done to, this was, let's say he did it to her, then he did it to himself or vice versa. There's no way. Well, the good thing about this situation, if there is a good thing, is that the children weren't harmed. 1 and 4 years old, they were not harmed. Well, in my last video about this, I gave some suspects. We talked about the ex-husband, how he remarried like quickly, right after he divorced Monique. And then also how he got a divorce in 2022. I brought up a court document that shows that there's supposed to be a custody hearing this last September over, it didn't say over what. That's the thing, it didn't say over what. Now, usually when there's a custody hearing, usually that's over a living being most of the time. Some people said it could have been the dog, but that long for the dog, I wouldn't see that long for the dog. I hate the sound. I have no filter, and I hate the sound very mean, but they got divorced almost, what, 8 years ago or something like that? How old was the dog when they got divorced? Is this the same dog that Monique has today? I don't know about that one, and we still don't know about that document. Some people have said that the document, that the court made a mistake. I've seen that before as well. Not personally, but the court made a mistake with, I have no idea. But if you haven't seen that video, go check out the last video and I talk about that. All right. Well, there is some new developments, not a lot, but there's some new developments where they put out a video, okay? And the video is of a guy in the back walking. He's walking through the alley.
When I first saw it, yeah, I do think, suspicious looking person there. It also very well could be, somebody walking home drunk from a bar.
Okay, so in this video, the police are releasing a timeline. They said in between 2 a.m. and 5 a.m., all right? And the reason why they're probably giving this timeline is because, first of all, this is the only video they showed us, right? I don't think this is the only video they have. I think they have more video. I don't think this is the only one. When you look back in that alley, there's a lot of cameras back there in that alley, from Ring cameras and things like that are in people's garage. So yeah, I don't think that's the only video. I think they have another one. And I think that's how they got the time frame. And he's walking towards the house. So in the first video footage, they probably see him walking towards the house. It's probably around that 2 a.m. range. The reason why they say 5 a.m., think about this. Why would they say 5 a.m., right? They probably have a video of him leaving, okay, around 5 a.m. So that's probably how they got this time frame of 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. Because how would they know 5 a.m. unless they have some sort of proof that this individual was, left or walking around 5 a.m. So they have this guy walking. So I'm pretty sure they got more than one video of him, okay, in the back alleyway. Now, and the original 911 call that was put out, when the guy said, there's a body on the floor, there's a body on the floor. And a lot of people were speculating that, he looked through the window and saw the body. Come to find out, he was most likely inside of the house and saw the body, because the full 911 call, the operator asked him a question of like, I think he replies back saying, I can't go any further or something like that. So maybe he didn't want to go any further is probably what it was. And a lot of people are speculating like, why didn't he say Spencer's on the floor? Why didn't he say Spencer? Here's the thing. Depending on how the body is situated, let's say he walked into the room or walked into the doorway and there's the bed, right? You got the bed. And let's say maybe he saw feet sticking out, or let's say the torso sticking out from the bed view, in which he saw the blood and DNA and things like that, but didn't see the head. So how's he supposed to know for sure if that is Spencer or not? I mean, these are just theories. This is just speculation, because they never exactly said. They said in the room, but they never said position. They didn't say if Spencer was laying on his back. They didn't say if Spencer was laying on his stomach. They really didn't give a lot of details in that part. So when that guy says body, it all depends on how he's seen the body. Because remember, he said he could not go any further. Maybe he didn't want to go any further, okay? Now, they also said that Monique, all right, she had a bullet wound through the side and through her chest, all right? So they're not saying if she was hit in the chest first and let's say it exited through the side, because when bullets hit you, they hit you through the chest and they exit from a direction. Sometimes they can get lodged in and they can get stuck. I've been hit before in my leg. Mine didn't go through. It actually got stuck and it hurt. My leg felt like it was on fire, like somebody set my thigh on fire. All right. So I kind of, I even know what that feels like, which sucks. You never want to feel that feeling. But they don't say if she was hit from the side and then it exit through the chest. Now, all this is going to matter, okay? All this stuff is going to matter when it comes to DNA forensics. That could tell you who was unalive first, who was unalive second. because Spencer, from reports, is supposedly hit twice. Okay, now I've seen multiple, but I've also seen twice. So supposedly he was hit twice. All right, but they're not telling us where at twice. That is what I would really love to know, is where at twice. That is going to play a big factor, because in my last video I even talked about this. If this was really personal, and let's say you hit him in the back, and then maybe he stood over him and then hit him in the head. Think about this. For all you guys that know who Nipsey Hussle the rapper was, that passed away 5 or 6 years ago, and seen that video, you guys remember what happened to Nipsey Hussle? You guys remember, if you seen that in broad daylight in front of the retail store, Nipsey Hussle's own retail store, the guy comes up, okay, with his weapon, points it right there at his chest, and fires a few times. Nipsey falls back to the ground, but Nipsey's still alive. So what does the guy do? Stand over him and fire some more. He goes to run away. Nipsey Hussle's still alive because Nipsey says something. The guy comes back for a second time, fires again, and then kicks him and then runs off. All right? So I'm not saying Spencer was hit that many times, but I'm just giving you guys an example. All right? If he was hit once and then the guy stood over him, they could tell from forensics how these bullet angles hit him. Then that means he wanted that man not living anymore. Now let's say Spencer just got out of his bed and was shot a couple times, and then Monique was, once and she passed away. That's, it could be a little different. It just really all depends. They're going to look at the angles of the bullets, okay? They're going to look to see if there was an exit. What did the bullets exit to? Did it hit the wall? Did it hit the window? Did it hit the carpet? Did it hit the floor? Because if you stand over somebody, it's going to go through you and into the floor, okay? Did it go into the wall? They look at all that stuff to figure this out. Now, as far as the man in the back alley goes, all right? When I look at this video of this man in his back alley, first of all, there's a couple things I noticed right away, all right? A lot of people were talking about, oh, the neighborhood's bad and things like this, and and I highly doubt that this was just a home invasion and a robbery, because they told us nothing was taken. Unless they're lying to us, they told us nothing was taken. Unless Spencer and Monique has something in the house that nobody knows about. And if they had something in the house that nobody knows about, that doesn't mean nobody knows about it, because obviously somebody did know and they took it. Now, that's if that is the case. But if that's not the case, then yeah, it is somebody they know. And we talked about this before. Okay. But one of the first things I noticed in this video was he looks like just an average man with tight jeans on. They're not baggy. All right. And a regular jacket on. You turn on Chicago news right now. Turn on Chicago news. Turn on Detroit news. Turn on any news from the major cities, okay, where it's cold outside and somebody's trying to do a crime like this. And let's say it's from a low-income area and these people came from the projects to do something. What do you usually see? Pants sagging, black Air Force Ones. Come on now. Come on now. I don't want to be stereotypical, but what do you usually see? All right. So when I saw that first thing, I thought of, well, I don't think this guy's from the projects. I don't think this guy, I mean, he could be, don't get me wrong, could be, but he doesn't give that vibe. He doesn't give that feeling. This gives me a feeling of a man who's walking down his alley that knows what he wants to do. He doesn't look scared. I'm not saying he wasn't. Doesn't look scared. Doesn't even really look nervous. He's just walking down the alley.
You got the dark coat, the lighter colored pants.
ABC6 showing the video to retired FBI agent Harry Trombitis.
Certainly the person doesn't seem to be in a hurry. They feel like they're confident in what they're doing, and that, if in fact they are the person that's involved.
Trombitis telling us while it's possible this person may not be involved, he may have important information for police.
Police must believe it's somebody that may have some information on the case or be involved.
All right, so I'm going to show you guys a street view of where he walked from. And not only where he walked from, if I was this man, what I probably would have done. All right. So this is the corner of Ninth right here. And this is leading to the back alley. Okay, so we're gonna walk from where the camera picked him up from. So he turned from this into this back alley. Okay, now if we look at this, now this is also from 2020. Okay, so on this side of the street, we don't know if anything has changed a lot, but let's look and see what we have here. Okay, so we have a house. Now this right here is the main street. That's the main street where the Tepe's house face. All right. You see there's apartments. All these apartments are here, okay? This man could have came from those apartments and crossed the street if he wanted to. And what you're going to do is when you're scoping the scene out, you're going to look at all possibilities in a way for you to get caught, or how can you get caught, all right? So, even if you're driving by, or let's say even walking by, this man could have walked by a couple times like within the past few weeks, okay? He could have. And is there a ring doorbell right here on this house? I have no idea. It's kind of far away. You really can't see. Let's see if we can zoom in. I don't see no camera or nothing on this house whatsoever. Actually, this house almost looks boarded up. Be honest with you, it almost looks like nobody should be living there. Um, it looks like there could be a possible either camera or spotlights right here. Okay, it looks like spotlighting. All right, so that looks like spotlighting, and I doubt if it was a camera, if it actually would see right here. Now, this is what I said I would do. All right. If I was in a situation and I needed to, avoid being detected. So this man walked down here. Now we already established. Looks like there's no cameras right here, and these are apartments right here. Apartments all along here. Usually apartments don't have ring doorbell cameras. A lot of times they don't. Okay, as you see. So this whole side of the street, from this little area right here, almost looks like, you know, there's no camera unless there is some cameras that you have to really be down there and look at, but almost look. So let's go through the alley real quick. Let's go through the alley. All right. So as we're going through this alley, you look up, still nothing, right? Now I will tell you when you're going through the alley, the Google date changes to 2019. So some of this stuff is not developed yet. Okay. And I'm going to show you how I realize this changes. Now we're still walking through this alley. Once again, here's some apartments. Again, all right? Apartments. I don't see any cameras because once again, it's an apartment. Now we start getting into the housing. Now I'm going to show you exactly where he was spotted. Let's back up some. Now remember, back when we were walking, it changed to 2019. We're in 2025, as in this Google Images. When you go to Google Images, it'll tell you the date, okay? It still says 2025. Watch, it's going to change though. You see this brick wall? See that brick wall? I think that's where he was spotted at. But watch, as we go to zoom in, it changes 2019. You see all this? Brick wall's gone. Everything is gone. So let's back up some more. Let's go back the other way. So we're going to have to zoom in back to 2025. So let's just zoom in. This right here, I don't know if you can see these two little bars on the concrete. That's where he was walking. That right there is the brick wall. There's a little brick wall. Let's see where he was walking. And there's a camera right there on this garage. That was how he was spotted, was on that camera. So this man walked through here. Okay. We'll turn back around. We'll zoom in because I can't keep walking back because, like I said, it's going to changed 2019, as you see. Unfortunately, I don't know why Google did that. So we just have to zoom in as best as we can. And as you see, there's the brick wall. There's where he was walking. Now, I don't see any cameras here, but there's a camera there. Okay. Now let's turn around. Let's go back through the neighborhood because it goes back to 2025. For some reason, in that little area, Google Images only shows you from 2019. So I don't know what was up with that. Look, Ring camera. Okay. Ring camera. Looks like a spotlight. It could be a camera. So, and here's the Tepe's house right here with no camera. So he could have easily walked around here, and there's a camera right here too. Look, right there. Camera. And another camera. So this camera right here will point towards this way. This camera right here will point this way. But here's the issue. If he jumped on this side of the garage, in between these two garages, that camera would not pick it up. And could be one here, but it looks like it's just pointing down if that's not a spotlight. But if he jumped in between these two garages, he's home free. That's what I would have did. I would have walked through here and then jumped. Now let's get out of this view. And let's go to the overall satellite image. Okay. I would show you the front on street view, but the front on street view takes you back to 2019 where these houses didn't even exist anymore. So once again, you're walking down the alley from where these trees are, okay? And the red right here is the house. Comes through the back. Does what he does, but then leaves. Goes back out this way. And like I said, this area that we have seen on Google Images is in the dark. That's what you call it, in the dark. There's really no cameras. No cameras at all. So they could have went into an apartment right here if they really wanted to. They could have jumped in a car right here and drove down the street if they wanted to. Now, here's the thing. Let's say police, how they said between 2 and 5, right? For example, let's say he did park in one of these cars. What I would have done is I wouldn't have left in the car right away, because what they're going to do is they're going to look at cameras. So there has to be a camera somewhere. There's no way there's not at least one camera on the street or one of these streets going somewhere, right? I would have did what I would have did. I would have jumped in the car and I would have sat. I wouldn't have left right away, because think about it. When did the police finally show up to the house? If this is between 5 a.m., when did the police finally show up? Wasn't it like, you guys let me know, I forgot the timeline. When did they start calling 911? An hour after? So like 9:30 or something like that, a.m.? So what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, almost 4 hours later is when pretty much 911 calls are being made and they're trying to get police out there to the house. So I would have sat in the car for at least a couple hours or a few hours. Then I would have left. Because what the police are going to do is they're going to look for any cars in that facility or vicinity that left within that time frame. Now, police are also going to look at phone records. They're also going to see if anybody's phone record pinged to that area. So remember how we're talking about suspects, for example, we're talking about the ex-husband. You guys also want to mention the brother-in-law. They're going to look at their phone records. Obviously, you're going to look and see if their phone records pinged in that area, because a lot of criminals nowadays are dumb and they bring their phone with them, which I don't know why. They bring their phone with them and then their phone pings to where crime happens and now they're caught. Bunch of idiots. But if this guy didn't have a phone, there's no phone record to even ping to him. But that is what I would have done. We don't know what he did. But one thing does raise a concern for me, unless this just has not been told to us. That type of weapon makes a lot of noise. So if there's 3 shots, that's 3 bangs. Okay? That's not a quiet weapon. Those weapons are loud. So if that's the case, if that was what was used, did the neighbors not hear it? Possibly. If it's between 2 and 5 in the morning, they could have been sleeping. So it is possible that they did not hear it. Now, if it was a pistol, could he have used a silencer? That's possible too. And that's probably why you didn't see when he was walking down. He didn't have, it's something easy to conceal. And he probably could have used a silencer. Now you can use silencers. There's all kind of ways to use it. It doesn't even have to be a professional. How you guys would see where you put the silencer on the end of the weapon, and they screw it on and they go do the job. Not everybody does it that way. I've seen people use Coke bottles. No lie. Word of word. I've seen people use Coke bottles and put them on the barrel and use duct tape, okay? And I'm not talking about the big 2-liter. I'm talking about the small one you usually get for yourself. And use it or whatever. But usually that's only good for 1 shot. I've seen people use potatoes, put the potato. I've seen pillows. I've seen, not personally, but when I was in there locked up with these people, some of these people that were in there for unaliving somebody, actually a lot of these people who were in there for unaliving somebody, it wasn't their first time. It was just their first time getting caught. That's what a lot of people don't understand. You realize how many serial people are out there? There's a lot that you don't know about. There's a lot. And they'll live an everyday life. You might work next to one and don't even realize it, especially if you did time for something like that. It's probably just his first time getting caught. But anyways, the man walks through the back alley, right? He could have easily jumped the fence. And when you jump the fence, you can either probably pop the window open. Now, when they say no signs, you have to think about this. Forced entry. We talked about this in my last video, okay? We didn't really break down what the forced entry part is. We was talking about maybe he knew the key code and things like that. But forced entry, meaning there was no door kicked down. The lock didn't seem like it was picked, all right? The window didn't seem like it was picked or busted open. Usually that's what the forced entry comes from, because you're entering by force. But let's say if the back window is already unlocked and he fits through the back window and you slide it open and then you go through, walk in, do your job, come back out, close the window down. No forced entry. If the back door was open, you open the door, do what you got to do, close the back door, no forced entry. Jump the fence and then you're gone. So when I was locked up, right, I had a person that was actually in my cell, and he was looking at, I think, 120 years. He ended up getting 99 years. That's crazy, right? Ended up getting 99 years. Most of their stuff was home invasions, false imprisonment. Some of these states, when you do that type of stuff, it's a life sentence. That's why. And they did it, oh my God, I want to say over 20 something times they did it. And he said they started out doing homes that didn't have people in it. But then they went to do a home that had a couple in the home. So eventually, I guess they just tied them up. And when they tied them up, they didn't hurt them, or shouldn't say hurt them. They did hurt them, okay? But they were still left alive and they left out the house. Now, this is what the individual's telling me, okay? And then not only that, he's sitting in there with his discovery, which, if you guys don't know what discovery is, that's pretty much your paperwork that shows all your charges and shows if anybody's told on you, and also gives you like a quick detail of what happened, all right? So he's in there with his discovery, and I could see exactly what's going on. All right, because he's looking over it, getting ready for trial. Well, so I know he wasn't lying. Then eventually, after that, I guess it got like, like breathing fresh air. It's like a theft. Like somebody steals a piece of gum, they're gonna keep stealing it, and it gets bigger, steal guns, jewelry, car, whatever it is, until they get caught. Well, it's kind of like what happened there. So they start doing homes that had people in it. But one of the things that was in his discovery was they weren't busting doors down. They weren't doing that type of stuff. What they were doing was a lot of times they started following people home. They will follow you home, okay? Because a lot of people, when they get home, especially from work or a late night or something like that, out from the club or the bar, you're not paying attention, especially if you've been drinking. You park in your driveway, you open your car door, close your door. What's the first thing you do? Take your keys out, you know, you open your door, you're not looking behind you, and then here they come. Bam! You just get bum rushed, knocked on your face, onto the floor. You don't even know what happened. And next thing they're telling you not to turn around because they got a weapon pointed at the back of your head. And now they're ransacking your house, and you don't even know who's ransacking your house because it happened just like that. Okay? Same thing if you pull into the garage. Garage opens up, especially if you pull in forward. Garage opens up and you pull in forward. Your back camera's not on. At that time, a lot of cars didn't have back cameras anyway. Your back camera's not on. Now let's say they did follow you and they see you. Your garage doesn't open up quick. It opens up slow. Easy for them to park down the street, get out, run down real quick. And as the garage is either closing, they go on real quick. To this day, he's the reason why I back in my garage. To this day, he is the reason why I back in my garage. I open my garage door up. I back in my cars every single time. So I can actually see if someone wants to do that to me. Okay. And he is the reason because of that. Now, the reason why I tell you this is because of the no hold forced entry thing. So if this guy, let's say this man has done this before, we don't know who this man is. We don't know, right? We don't even know if this is him or not. But if this man has done this before, he knows exactly what he's doing. He's maybe could have broken into some houses, or he knew something could have been unlocked. He's probably could have been in the house before. The thing is, we don't know. Supposedly, the Tepes were known to have gatherings and known to have parties. So we don't know who was at the parties. We don't know who was at the gatherings. We don't know any of that. They're not giving us a lot of detail. All right. Now, one thing, there was a 911 call that came on April. April of last year, actually, April 2025. This 911 call is a girl who's saying that, oh, never mind. Here, I'll let you listen to it.
Hello?
Hi, this is 911. We just got a hang-up call. Is everything okay?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm okay.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm okay. Sorry.
Okay, well, it sounds like you're crying. Do you need police, paramedics, or anything?
No, I'm okay. I promise. I'm just emotional. I'm okay. I don't need nothing.
Well, can I ask what had you call 911 in the first place? Like, were you having an argument with somebody?
Me and my man got into it, but I'm okay. I promise.
Did anything ever get physical?
No.
You guys were just arguing, nobody hit each other?
Yes.
Okay. All right, man. Well, I have the information here. I can go ahead and tell the officers to cancel heading over to your address there.
Yes.
If anything changes, call us back.
Okay.
Now, as you see, she's saying, my man. She didn't say my husband. Now, I think there were some words taken out of context about this call. I saw a lot of comments talking about on YouTube videos and Reddit posts saying that's not Monique, because the brother-in-law, who was Rob, says that it was a woman who was at a party, okay, on a Tuesday at 2:45 in the morning, which is really Monday night. I don't know. Maybe they throw parties on Monday and Tuesday nights. Who knows, right? We're not there. We don't know. But it was a party in April, and which could have been spring break. I don't know what their spring break is. I don't know. Everybody's spring break is a little different. Could have been. Who knows? But it was a party, and that was one of them women. That's what a lot of comments are saying. All right. But the real comment I found came from News Nation, where he actually said that, which kind of makes sense, but it doesn't, which he said that there was a call supposedly that was made. Now, how many calls are made from this house calling 911? But he said, oh, well, if that call was from April, I don't know who that was. The one I'm talking about is a few years ago.
Misla spoke with the Surviving the Survivor podcast Tuesday night. He said that the 911 recording reportedly from April was made public shortly before he went on that show. He said that the voice you heard on the 911 call is not Monique. He says that the Tepes often had gatherings at their home. Here's part of what he had to say on the podcast.
Multiple people that I've talked to that were at this party have all stated, yes, we remember this happening. The woman had just a little bit of a freak out, for lack of a better term. Maybe, was having some mental health issues at the time. But she called the cops from her cell phone. I know it says it was from Spencer and Monique's house. Maybe it was close. But she was at this party and she just had kind of a lapse psychologically, I think, at the time.
We spoke with Rob Misla today about that reported April 911 call that was first put out there by Fox News Digital, and we asked him about what he said about it on the podcast overnight. Here's his statement to Law and Crime. Quote, "The party that I was talking about was years ago. From my understanding, from Monique's sister, their neighbors, and one of her friends, a friend of Monique, may have had too much to drink and taken an edible and had a mental breakdown. If the date of the 911 call is April 2025, I don't know. I know it was not Monique's voice." Again, that's Rob Misla, who is Monique and Spencer's brother-in-law.
So, how many calls are made from the house? Calling 911, because he said that call, if that call was in April, no, the one I'm talking about was a few years ago or a couple years ago, whatever. But he did say the voice is not Monique's. Now, this is what could have happened, because think about it. They never gave an address out, right? I guess maybe they pinged the phone. This is what could have happened. Could have. There's other people that live there. There's apartments that live there, okay? Or are not living on that property, but there's apartments right down the street. She could have lived in one of the apartments. Could have been a neighbor. And maybe called 911 from the house. Who knows? Or call 911 after she left the house. And now she could have stopped by the garage. Remember, you have an alley. The alley's free game. Anybody can walk by there. So she could have stopped by the alley and could have been right in front of their garage making this call. Or 911 calling her back, I should say. And if she's behind the alley by that garage, then yeah, that could have pinged to their address. Could have. Do I know that's Monique's voice? I don't know. I don't even know what Monique sounds like. I don't talk to her. Do you guys know? No, you don't. Unless you talk to her every day, then you would know. The only person that can tell us is somebody who's talked to her every day. Now, he said that was not Monique's voice. All right. So if that's not her voice, but still, could this play a role in what happened at the house? Possibly, because we don't know. We really don't. Was there a girl at the house staying at the time that we don't know about? Maybe the family doesn't know? Because I'm going to tell you guys one thing. All right. Even with the ex-husband, a lot of people were like, well, they were married. Well, such and such. You know what? Look, you might not like this. Couples will do things behind closed doors that you and I do not know about. Okay? Not even just couples. You could work with Willie in the cubicle next to you. You don't know what Willie's doing at home, when he's at home, when he gets off work. You don't know what he's doing. Unless you're sitting there right next to him on his couch, you have no idea. You can only assume because of how his character is. But you don't know. You don't know. So we can't assume what Monique and Spencer was doing in their house behind closed doors. So we don't know if they had people staying for a day, A night? A month? We don't know. Unless you're there every day to see this. Couples have fights all the time, but that doesn't mean they got to tell the world about it. Think about it. People who are watching me who's married, how many fights have you and your husband had where nobody knows you guys had a fight? I know people who, let's say maybe their husband hit them or the wife hit them, but you never told your family about it because maybe it was in the past and it got over with. I'm just saying. Maybe a husband cheated. Maybe a wife cheated, but you never went out and told your brothers and sisters probably because you didn't want to feel like a fool. So you kept it secret. So we don't know. But here's the thing. When it comes to a case like this, you got to keep all possibilities open. Emotions and feelings, all that crap got to go to the side. You got to keep all scenarios and all possibilities open. How do you think I survived so long for 15 years on the run? I didn't survive off emotions and feelings. I had to look at every situation and had to pretty much, when I look at people, look at what everybody is capable of doing. When you stop looking at people that way, that's when you get sidetracked. So when it comes to something like this, investigators, I'm pretty sure that's what they're doing. Okay. Looking at all that. Now, like I said, we don't know who this woman was. We really don't. But I figure I'd bring up this 911 call because why? It's being talked about. So let's talk about it, right? Like I said, there's not a lot of evidence on this. Now, I will tell you one thing. I think law enforcement, I think they have an idea of who this is. They might even know exactly who this is, but they might not have all the evidence of who this is. How they're putting out this, talking about, do you have any more video footage of this guy? That I think they got a lot of video footage of him. And I would not be shocked if law enforcement is feeding the media this so the media can go on news, because law enforcement knows. They know whoever did this, they is looking at the news. Anybody who commits a crime, and it's a big story, you're looking at the news to make sure they're not looking for you. How do I know? I was looking at the news to make sure they was not looking for me. They looking at the news, okay? And law enforcement could be doing this on purpose to make them think, as in the person who really did it, make them think, oh, they don't know it's me. I'm in the clear. Now, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to live my everyday life like nothing happened because they don't know it's me. Think about that. If law enforcement exactly knew who it was, if they exactly knew who it was, right? And, or let's say they knew the name, but they don't have a lot of evidence. Let's just say that, for example. Let's say they know the name, but they don't have a lot of evidence. And then they told the media, oh, it's this guy right here. We think he did it, but we don't have the evidence. So can y'all send me a tip? Oh, now the guy knows. So what's he got to do now? All he has to do is wipe everything clean. That's all he has to do. Wipe everything clean. Then he has enough time to go to witnesses and talk to them, his family and talk to them, get alibi straight, all that stuff. Far as we know, law enforcement could be watching this man right now. Every move. They could be listening to his phone call every single time. For you guys that has never been, hopefully locked up, prison and things like that, please don't ever go. Don't ever go. Don't do anything to put yourself in a situation. But they have good ways of following you, and you don't even realize they're following you. They can be using a 3-4 car method if they want to. You guys know what that is? The 4-car method, the 3 cartel? 3 different cars, sometimes 4 different cars, telling you they got 1 car parked down the street with somebody in it. So when you leave, that car may not even follow you. They're just still sitting there. So you don't recognize it. But then they're radioing in on a second car who could be 2 blocks away saying they're about to pass you. So then that second car comes, and you thinking it's a regular individual. They follow you for about 3 or 4 blocks. And then they're radio to the next car saying, hey, this one. And those 3 or 4 cars will take turns following you until you get to where you're going. But the cars switch up so you don't realize they're following you. Fugitive TV. Make sure y'all check out the merch down below, all right? If I have any more details and any more updates, I'm going to give you guys that. I just figure I'd give you guys this little quick knowledge on what I think of what's going on in the situation. Now, if you guys have any comments below, please let me know. Even if you think who you think did it. Was it the ex-husband? Some people are saying it could have been a love affair with somebody at work. Some people even brought up the brother-in-law, and the brother-in-law clapped back. Look at this. So here on Rob, who is the brother-in-law, his Facebook page, he claps back. Okay. So the original post, which I'll show you right here, is from Real Crime Sisters. And Real Crime Sisters is, I guess, reporting on this case. And they made a post on their Facebook saying, I'm just going to say it because Rob's behavior and the things he has said doesn't sit right with me. To me, using phrases like stacking up, or lucky, it wasn't a competition. Feels like he's projecting his own insecurities into the deceased man, which is really an insensitive thing to do so soon after a death. What also unsettles me is how counterintuitive his behavior is compared to how well I usually expect people to grieve. Most people pull back, but he stepped forward into the comment section instead. I can't tell if that's just a digital native instinct to control the narrative, or if there's something more complicated going on beneath the surface. Either way, it leaves me feeling uneasy. So then Rob, who reposts this on his page, he says, and there it is. I officially been named a person of interest by these very talented and professional crime journalists who initially called the couple Spencer and Monica Tepe and haven't even tried to reach out and talk to me. I'm trying to put my focus towards editing a video for the funeral, not defending my innocence. I was like, why did he say Spencer and Monica Tepe? Did these people, Real Crime Sisters, make this post and eventually call them? So I looked down here under the original post, and Rob did say, here's Real Crime Sisters 3 days ago, Spencer and Monica Tepe. And he said, at least get their names right. So yeah, he's clapping back at the people who's saying he is involved with this. Now, everybody grieves differently. Here's the thing. You cannot tell somebody how to grieve. You can't. Everybody grieves differently. Some people, when something happens to a loved one, they go into shock. They go into blackout mode. They don't remember anything. Some people go shopping. Some people want to eat everything that's in the fridge. Some people want to unalive themselves. Everybody acts differently in every situation. So you cannot expect for somebody to act a certain way just because you might have acted a certain way, or you're like, "Oh, my friend, when this happened," you don't know. So the brother-in-law is watching. He's probably watching my video right now. So there's a lot of speculation of who could have did it. Okay? A lot of that. I've even had people in comments saying it could have been one of the children. So where's the weapon at, man? Ding dong. I mean, I've seen it all. Only thing you can speculate on is really, let's say, motive. What would the motive be for the brother-in-law to do it? What would the motive be? Another motive would be, could have been the wrong couple. I was doing a search of the neighbors. There used to be a Spencer Smith that lived right across the street. Literally, right across the street. A Spencer Smith. Supposedly, he passed away 20 years ago, though. But there was a Spencer Smith that lived right across the street with a record. Interesting, because across the street, I guess it's like it looks like a house, but I guess there's apartments inside that house. So he lived in one of the apartments. So could have been a mistaken identity. We don't know. But let me know. What do you guys think? I take all tips, I try and follow through with them, and I try and do my best research, see what I can find, and then I report it back to you guys, all right? For you guys that are new, please like, subscribe, share this channel. And for you guys that have been following me, especially from the get-go, you guys have helped me up so much. My channel has blown up 13,000 subscriptions in the last 6-7 months. It has been crazy. I'm one of the fastest YouTube growing channels, or I should say growing YouTube channels out there. All right. It's been insane. Thank you guys. Please like, subscribe, share. Take care of one another. Be aware of your surroundings, all right? At all times. Fugitive TV, I'm out.